Prime Minister unveils National Economic Development Plan for a Sustainable Era. Joint opposition claims the sale of the Hambantota port will cause a loss of 330 billion rupees. 16 bank accounts containing $1.5 million linked to Udayanga Veeratunga frozen. SLFP member of the Delimitation Appeals Committee signs final report.
We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening, I'm Shahan Jarampati. Let's take a look at those stories in detail.
At Temple Trees today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe unveiled the National Economic Development Plan for a Sustainable Era.
Following the presentation, the Prime Minister elaborated on the National Economic Development Plan for a Sustainable Era.
We
will create two large separate zones in the country after identifying the tourism, business, agriculture and fishery sectors. One will be the Southwest Zone. Based on travel, there are 2 airports and 2 harbours in the Southwest Corridor. We currently operate on 2 pistons and we have 4. We are prepared to operate on all 4. Based on the road system in the country, we will create a massive development zone from Kandli to Monaragala and Vallavaya. With the existence of the Central Expressway, we will develop the Northwest, including Kurunagala. We will create a tourism sector in Idanavilla and Kalpitiya. We will create 2 more industrial zones in Bingiriya and Kuliapitiya. Industrial zones will also be set up in Diulapitiya and Mirigama. It will be termed as Megapolis. In addition, we will hold talks with Singapore, Japan and India for the development of the Trincomalee Harbour. We will have special programs to develop agriculture and industries in the north as a port war economy.
Certain groups are attempting to create political instability in the country. How are you going to face it?
We will face it. They want to create instability. If not, it will be the end of their political career. They say the government will be no more and another will become Prime Minister. That is not a threat to us. We are not divided. We have a majority in Parliament.
However, SLFP MPs and UNP MPs have conflicting opinions.
There are 2 political parties. They will sort it out.
We witnessed the Development Special Provisions Bill being rejected by provincial councils. What is the government's next move?
When the amendments are finalized, I will discuss them with the chief ministers and prepare it in a manner where they too will be involved. When there is major development, the central government cannot do it alone. We want to get the others involved. But if they are not interested, we will do it on our own.
The foundation stone for a vehicle assembly plant in Kuliapitiya was laid yesterday. Claims were made in the past that the plant would be a Volkswagen assembly plant. But is this the case? If not, what will this assembly plant manufacture?
The new chairman of Volkswagen announced that the plant will be delayed in order to ascertain the income, expenses and the investment. However, the primary investment will be made by Senok. Thereafter, they will be coming in.
The foundation stone for an assembly plant was laid in Kuliapitiya based on an agreement signed between Senok Automobiles and the BOI. Senok Automobiles are the sole agent in Sri Lanka for Volkswagen, Audi and Subaru. Based on the agreement between the BOI and Senok Automobiles, the vehicles produced through the plant will be sold in the country for a period of 3 years. We signed this agreement to create an assembly plant. Based on the agreement, the investment will be $25.5 million. In addition to the assembly plant, there will also be a training center. Approval has been granted to assemble around 500 cars a year. If they are to begin exporting, they should utilize more than 35% of the local raw material. They must be registered with the department before they begin producing new vehicles. There are 2 such plants in operation through the BOI. The Kuliapitiya plant or the Volkswagen plant needs to definitely complete the registration process with us if they want to release cars into the local market.
The taxes we pay on vehicles as permanent importers and the taxes paid when a vehicle is imported in pieces and assembled here are totally different. 50 to 60% of the national revenue depends on the income of the customs department. 40% of the customs revenue is based on the taxes on vehicles. If the country loses tax revenue in this manner, then the country could face a lot of trouble.
They tried to build buses in the country. They set up a company, gave lands and even gave the buses. Now it is no more. Then they started another vehicle plant. They are continuing to assemble vehicles. Now again they are saying they still set up a plant in the country. But what is happening, according to the information we have received, is that the Volkswagen agent in Sri Lanka has been given the green light to bring in parts and assemble the cars in the country. In a few days we will see what happened to LATEC happened to this plant as well. During the ceremony held to start work on the project, there was no one present. Why was that? It is clear that this is simply a show being put on by the government.
We are not sure if this is Volkswagen. This land is a valuable land which was set aside for a university. What happened was that this land was given over to a private company. What this company will do with this land in Kokonagala, we are not aware of it. What will happen in the end is that they will create broken cars and give them to the people of this country. They will not be able to export a single car. They are bringing down the car in pieces and welding it together here. They are trying to do what is done in secret in a legal manner. The plant in Kuliapitiya is not a Volkswagen plant. If you closely examine the logo of the Volkswagen car and the logo of the plant, the difference is visible. In its 2017 report, Volkswagen has not mentioned the construction of such a plant in Sri Lanka.
Earlier they said our promise that we would commence a plant was a lie. Yesterday they commenced work on a car assembly plant in Kuliapitiya. There will be a number of plants being opened in the next 2 weeks. We will be able to provide employment for 20,000 people. Will a branch
of Volkswagen be established here, or has the Volkswagen dealers been given the go-ahead to create an assembly plant?
They will simply not give the power to reproduce their logos if they cannot assure quality. Their experts will be brought down here, and this will begin with their expertise. This is how China started. They will have to adhere to certain standards and maintain the quality of the product. Else, they will not be able to use the Volkswagen brand name. We have given a zone for this very purpose. You have to ask that from the owners of Volkswagen. What is the point of you asking this from me?
Questions were raised during the cabinet media briefing held today on the decision to hand over the Hambantota port to a Chinese company.
Mahinda Rajapakse understands this. He is aware that if this government continues for another year, his family members would be sent to prison and even sentenced to the gallows for murder. Because of that, he clings on to whatever he sees. He wants to save himself at the cost of the nation. That is the truth. Keep aside 15,000 acres. If they want 25,000 acres, we need to provide it. This is not something like the Great Wall of China where there will be signs of no entry. This is a BOI agreement. They are undertaking the construction and one day they will hand it over to the BOI. This is the agreement. Can I decide who comes after 99 years? Who knows who will be in the country at that time? A cabinet comprising of robots could be making the decisions with the president pressing a switch to ask whether something can be done for 99 years. Did you see what he told the media? He first said that it will be a Chinese colony. Later he said, do not use the statement. But we gave the tape to Xinhua and we asked them to show what kind of statement he makes. Now China knows who he is. In a letter dated the 27th of December 2016, Minister of Ports and Shipping Arjuna Ranatunga questioned the operations of the Committee of Secretaries which was appointed with regard to the Hambantota port. The minister pointed out that many issues have arisen as a result of the subject minister and the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, which has official authority over ports, not being involved in the process. The letter notes that even at a time when the Cabinet Committee on Economic Management had ruled that the Sri Lanka Ports Authority must sign the agreement framework with regard to the Hambantota port, the committee had cast aside the agreement framework presented by the SLPA. It reads that even though the Cabinet Committee on Economic Management discussed the said agreement framework, casting it aside, Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Malik Samaravikrama and Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sarath Amunugama presented a separate agreement to the Cabinet of Ministers. Arjuna Ranatunga notes that it is the aforesaid agreement that had been signed and the Cabinet Committee on Economic Management had decided to convene the final meeting before reaching the agreement under his auspices. He expressed his displeasure to the Committee of Secretaries for failing to do so and demands an explanation from the Committee of Secretaries in this regard. It was confirmed that the letter was received by the members of the committee. However, they are yet to respond to the letter sent by Minister Arjuna Ranatunga.
The People's Liberation Front, or the JVP, took to the streets today to raise public awareness on the sale of state resources, including the Hambantota port.
Senior members of the JVP distributed handbills to the public opposite the Colombo Fort railway station in order to create awareness.
On one hand, the people are burdened with the economic crisis. On the other, they are being taxed heavily. Meanwhile, the government has also taken a decision to sell off valuable resources in order to get out of this economic crisis. Like in the past, this is another step taken to sell off lands in the country. In addition, 1,200 acres, operations and services are to be sold for a very meager price. The people must be brought together against this.
The JVP also held an awareness program in Hatton today.
The joint opposition claims that the Sri Lanka Ports Authority will suffer a loss of 330 billion rupees if the sale of the Hambantota port to a Chinese company goes ahead. A number of joint opposition MPs today filed a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption.
The complaint holds the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Malik Samaravikrama, including several other members, accountable for the loss. MP Mahindya Pabewardana signed the complaint that was filed today.
Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Malik Samaravikrama and Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sarath Amunugama had presented a joint cabinet paper by passing the subject minister to start off this corrupt deal. We have been informed that a powerful person in the government was given 160 million rupees as a commission. We request that this be investigated. From the Prime Minister's side, Malik Samaravikrama and senior advisor to the Prime Minister are spearheading this deal. The Prime Minister bypasses the ministers and presents a cabinet paper and obtains approval. Ranil Wickremesinghe is no longer Mr. Clean. He is a dirty boy.
The Ranil Wickremesinghe mahatya Mr. Clean නෙවෙයි dirty boy කියන එක රටම දැනගෙන ඉවරයි. මේක වහලා ගහන ගාඩු දෙනවා.
This is a hidden deal. The port, which was described as a white elephant, is all that Ranil Wickremesinghe and his gang have to cling on to survive.
විකුණගෙන එකම දේ දැන්.
Leader of the National Unity Alliance, Asad Saleh, expressed his views during a media briefing convened in Colombo today.
The person who came to purchase the sugar factory in Kantale said that he only needs the land. But what Minister Kabir Hashim says is that they cannot obtain a loan from the local bank even if they invest $10 million that was brought from abroad. He put conditions to get money from foreign countries. After doing all of these, they call for tenders.
ඒකත් දැන් තුන් පාරකට ටෙන්ඩර් ගිහලා අන්තිමට ඒකේ ඇමතුමා කවුද? ගුණවර්ධන ඇමතුමා මලා.
When Minister John Amurathunga was trying to interfere into this, Minister Malik Samaravikrama took it over. He is the super minister, isn't he? He will keep the tenders, the cabinet and all of that aside.
අයින් කරලා කියනවා උඹ අපේ ලංකාවේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම වස්තු ටික ගනි. කියන්නේ වාහන 300ක් විතර තියෙනවා. යකට ගොඩ ගාලා තියෙනවා කන්තලේ සීනියේ. ඒ ඔක්කොම යටින් ගේම් එකක් ගාලා දැන් මලික් සමරවික්‍රම දැන් දෙනවා කන්තලේ සීනි කම්මල යකඩෙත් එක්ක අරන් ඵලයන්.
They still have not signed an agreement under the Ministry of Lands, but we see foreigners constantly visiting the sugar factory in Kantale and they have already started operations.
පටන් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. කොහාටද අපි යන්නේ?
Further information regarding the involvement of a US company in a project to strengthen good governance in the country continues to come to light.
Newsfirst revealed that a US firm, Development Alternatives Incorporated, had been selected to carry out a $13 million project in the country to strengthen good governance. We revealed, quoting a book written by Eva Gollinger, a Venezuelan-American lawyer, that this particular company was a front company of the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA, for its cover activities. Newsfirst inquired into the matter from the Deputy Minister of Mass Media and Parliamentary Affairs, Karu Paranavithana. The Deputy Minister was a member of the delegation which signed the agreement in September last year.
That program is between the US government and the Sri Lankan government. That means it is between the American Congress and the Sri Lankan Speaker of Parliament to increase the capacity of the parliamentarians and the staff. The agent is USAID and not the company that you speak of.
Then what is DAI?
We will look into it. We are working with USAID as per our knowledge.
No, USAID is providing the finances for the company that has been selected to enact this is DAI.
USAID must be looking for sub-companies to enact this. If it is being given to a company that Sri Lanka cannot accept, then we can speak about it.
Are you hoping to look into this?
අපේ රාජ්‍ය සේවය නංවන්න ඇමරිකාවේ පෞද්ගලික සමාගම් එක්ක ගිවිසුම් ඇති කර ගැනීම අවශ්‍ය.
There is no need to sign agreements with private companies in the US to uplift the public sector of our country. We need to issue a warning. The former Ministry of Constitutional Affairs between 1995 and 2000 consulted an NGO in Germany in a similar manner to change the opinion of the people at the time. What we can see is that the agreement that is being reached with the US is a program to create a federal model to weaken the government and carry out propaganda. That is what this contract seems like.
අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රචාරණ කටයුතු සිදු කිරීම සඳහා ඊට සමාන එකක් තමයි මේ දැන් ඇමරිකාවත් එක්ක ගහන්න සැරසෙන බව පේන්නේ.
I told them that we can talk about it.
They say that the company is connected to the CIA.
We do not know for sure. There has been aid coming into the parliament through USAID. The project is implemented through another company. I have asked the officials to talk to me. I will provide you the details tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Also making headlines this evening, the 4th Magistrate Court ordered to freeze a number of bank accounts linked to former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Udayanga Weeratunga.
$1.5 million had been deposited in 16 accounts in leading private banks in the country. The Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division conducted the investigations on these bank accounts and presented a motion to courts today.
Sri Lanka Freedom Party representative Salia Matthews signed the final report compiled by the Delimitation Appeals Committee today.
Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faiza Mustafa recently requested the Delimitation Appeals Committee report to be submitted with signatures of all members. The 2 members who did not sign the report were given time until the 9th of January to do so. Chairman of the committee Ashok Piri said that SLFP representative Salia Matthews signed the final report today. Attorney at law Misbah Sattar, who represents the United National Party, is yet to sign the report. The UNP representative is yet to sign the Delimitation and Appeals Committee report. With the recent development, it is clear that the United National Party wants to postpone the local government elections, or they want to have the elections under the proportional system. They are engaged in an act of sabotage. Through the delay in signing the Delimitation and Appeals Committee report, it is clear that the United National Party wants to postpone the elections. Former President Mahinda Rajapakse expressed his views to the media when commencing work for the new year. He can go. There is no problem in that. I do not stab people from the back. I will not create problems while he is away. I will topple the government when he is in the country.
තුමා මෙහි ඉන්න වෙලාවෙම තමයි ඔක පෙරලෙන්නේ.
Wait and watch on that day. You will know it with time. No, we will topple the government in a democratic way. Watch and wait. One has already resigned. One of the building blocks has been removed. How many building blocks will be removed?
Minister of Health Dr. Rajapakse reacted to the statement made by former President Mahinda Rajapakse that he would topple the government.
ආණ්ඩුව හෙල්ලෙනවා වැටෙන්නේ නැහනේ. කොච්චර හෙල්ලෙන දේවල් තියෙනවද වැටෙන්නේ නැති ඒවා. හරිද? වැටෙනවයි හෙල්ලෙනවයි කියන එක දැන් හෙල්ලෙන ඒවා ඔක්කොම වැටෙනවා නම් එළුව හරක් ඇත්තෙම නැහනේ. ඔක්කොම වැටුණා නම්. මොකද නෑ කිසිම අවස්ථාවරයක්. කවුද කියලා තියුනේ? එයා ඉතින් 2015 කිව්වනේ. තමුන්නාසලා පත්තරවල ලිව්වේ 2015 වැටෙනවයි කිව්වා. වැටුණානේ නෑ. 16 වැටෙනවයි කිව්වා. වැටෙන්නේ නෑ.
දැන් ප්‍රියංකර ජයරත්න එතුමා ඉල්ලා අස්සලා. එතුමා දැන් කියලා තියෙනවා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමකට එකතු වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ ආණ්ඩුවේ ඉන්න තව කට්ටිය අස් වෙනවා කියලා එතුමාලා කියනවා. එතුමානේ කියන්නේ. එතකොට වැටෙන කියන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉදපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියපු දේ හරි කියන්නේ
එක්කෙනෙක් නෑ. දැන් එයාගේ නැට්ට කැපුණා. එවන අර නරියාගෙත් නැට්ටක් කැපුණාම ඌ හැමතැනම ගිහිල්ලා කිව්වා නැට්ටක් නැති වුණාම තියෙන කොච්චර ෂෝක්ද කියලා. හැමෝක් කෙනාටම කිව්වා ඔයගොල්ලොත් නැට්ට කපා ගන්න ඒක තමයි ස්ටයිල් එක කියලා. දැන් මෙයාගේ නැට්ට කැපුණයි කියලා එයා හිතනවා හැමෝගෙම නැට්ට අනිත් කට්ටිය නැට්ට කපා ගන්නයි කියලා. දැන් බලමුකෝ.
The Immigration and Immigration Departments deported a Korean monk residing at the Court Sri Nagaviharaya.
A heated argument broke out when officers of the Immigration and Immigration Department arrived at the Court Sri Nagaviharaya yesterday and attempted to deport the Korean monk.
The priest, you can make your statement to the officer.
Yes, all the original, which there is a copy.
So that's why I request you to come to our office. I will show all the documents.
You can
yes,
you can
everything.
here.
But this is not a legal thing.
One, there is no seal of the minister, and it doesn't say that any mistake or fault that you have committed under section 16 of the Budget Act. It doesn't say any. So, on that view, we don't agree with this order.
Later, the Korean Theros were taken to the Mirihana police station. A vehicle that was following the vehicle of immigration and immigration officers obstructed the vehicle. When inquired, the controller of immigration and immigration, M.M. Ranasinghe, stated that the Korean monks were asked to leave the country since they had arrived on tourist visa and that they left thereafter. After the demise of the chief incumbent of the Nagaviharaya in Kotte, Venerable Maduluave Sobitathera, there were several issues that arose with the incumbency of the temple. Legal issues too have been filed regarding the matter. Who is behind expelling the Korean Thero?
The people of Dodangoda Kaluthara were provided with a community hall through phase 2 of the Gammadda 100-day movement.
The Gammadda 100-day initiative. With the people, for the people.
The villagers of Himbutuvilla in Todangoda Kaluthara had to face a myriad issues due to the absence of a common area for the locals to gather during a public event. Even though alternative locations in the village were used for this purpose, it failed to stand as a successful solution. Over 400 families in the village of Dodangoda will benefit from the community hall provided through the Gum at the movement. Nalin Ratnayaka, who resides in Australia, and Jat Holdings joined hands to contribute for this project.
Rather than saying that we made this for them, what I wanted most was for us to do this together with the villagers. Then there is a certain sentimental value to it. There was a dire need for this, which is why I went to Sirasa and volunteered to contribute for this.
The winner of an art competition which was held at the event was also felicitated.
The absence of this community hall was a massive shortcoming for us. For around 6 years we held our committee meetings in houses. We thank the Capital Maharaja organization and Newsfirst for handing this community hall to us. We thank the Capital Maharaja organization and Newsfirst for providing us with this community hall, which was a huge shortcoming for us.
Well, now for sports news, we join News First Dasani Atauda at the sports desk. Dasani, over to you.
Thank you, Shahin. In your sports news tonight, it's cricket. The third day of the second test between South Africa and Sri Lanka is currently underway in Cape Town. Now, Sri Lanka has been set a mammoth task of chasing down 507 runs for victory of the second test against South Africa. Incidentally, the highest score made by Sri Lanka during the fourth innings of a game is 410. A short while ago, Sri Lanka batting in their second innings were 125 for the loss of 4 wickets. With that, it's back to the main desk.
Thank you very much, Dasani.
And with that, we conclude tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. For the News First team, I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahin Jarampati. Good night and take care.